Hello, and welcome to this Pali-Studies tutorial. In this video tutorial today, we're going to talk about the Digital Pali Reader. I've done other videos on this. They're on my YouTube channel. In a previous video, we've looked at the navigation pane and how to navigate around the sutras. We've looked a little bit about the search panel and how to search. Today I'm going to start again from this point. So the first thing to notice is when we're doing a search of the sutras, we can choose which books of the Tripitaka we want to search. It's a simple tick list. We can also do searches of a single book, or if you want to do a particular sutra and look for a term in a particular sutra, you can do a partial search and select the book and the sutras in here and type your search term in. So another thing to note is the regular expressions tick box here. If you're searching for a term, you can add Java regular expressions. I must admit I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that dot is the wildcard. So if we were looking for a term and we didn't know what the ending was, we can do a search like that. This is going to bring up a lot of search terms, I can tell. It's just the same as not completing the search term. So if we didn't complete the search term, you can do another search like that and it's going to bring up exactly the same results. So really the wildcards are useful for terms in the middle of a word. So that's a wildcard in the middle of a word, and if we search for that, it will be a lot more specific in its searching. Another useful thing when searching is if you put a space at the end of the word, it will limit it to just that word. So here we can see it's finding terms where the search term is in the middle of the word, and if we did that again, it would limit it down again so that the word must end as we have ended it here. The next thing we're going to look at today is the Tools tab. So if we press that, it comes up with the dictionary search box. Very useful if you're looking for a particular term. You have to type the stem in here and you can do a search, and here we can see it brings up the dictionary definitions of the word dharma for us. We can extend this pane, and here we can see there's a lot of information about the word dharma. If you misspell a word or type in an incomplete word, it won't find the word for you, so it's not as good as searching from a sutta. In this box here you can choose the dictionaries you want to search in. I tend to leave it on DPR analysis because that will search all of them. One very useful thing is if you have the Sanskrit dictionary extension loaded, then you can search for Pali roots and Sanskrit roots. So if we do that, we can pull up all the terms of which the root da is included. So here we can see it's giving us several entries for the term da. And the tool tab also has the preferences option, and here I normally click the page numbers, which will give you the Pali Text Society's page numbers in the navigation panes, which is useful for cross-referencing. The other thing I tend to do is put up the Access to Insights offline archive, and that will give you the ability to have side-by-side translations in English with the Pali Sutras, which is very useful. I'll show you how to do that now. So the first thing we have to do is go and download the Access to Insight archive. So what I will do is I'll navigate there, And you will see it down at the bottom here, you've got the download the whole website. If you click on that, and it gives you instructions, there's a zip file here, you download that and install it, and then on the DPR's preferences you just navigate to that location and click use. And what that does is, in the navigation pane, if we go and navigate to a sutra, so this is DN1, you'll see at the side there's a greyed out icon. If you hover over it, this gives you the access to Insight translation. If you just do a straight click on it, it opens it up in a new tab. That's the English translation. But what is very useful is if you press shift and then do a click, it opens it up in a pane at the side here. So we can get side by side Pali Sutra and English translation. Another useful thing, if you find yourself on another website somewhere which has Pali words on, I'll just use the Access to Insight here as an example, you can highlight the word, and if you right click on that word, you'll find in the context menu there's a DPR slot, and you can drag the word over to the DPR. Here I'm going to just analyze it, and it will do a search for it in its dictionaries, and that also can be very useful if you're cross-referencing with another site. There's some other very useful things on the Tools tab here. You can set bookmarks up to various locations. I haven't got any set up here. You can also access your history for the things that you've looked at previously. There's a very interesting Pali quiz if you want to build up your vocabulary. There are all sorts of ways of testing yourself. You can do a straight vocab, you can look at nouns, you can type in all the various declensions. What I like to do is concentrate on the verbs because I can just about remember them. As I say, you can type in the declensions, but there's also this shuffle option where you can shuffle around the various options here to get the right one. So I'm going to have an attempt at this. I think it's T. Yeah. So I think it goes TC me, and ant is the plural third person, and that's it. So I think that's right. Even if we click, and it tells me that that's good. I think that's the first one that I've got right in a long time. The other things on the tool tab are the miscellaneous resources. This can be useful. It gives you Mazard's translation of a practical grammar of the Pali language, which is a very concise grammar guide. This can be useful if you're looking for a particular ending of a word. What I tend to do is use the browser search function. You can type an ending in and it will search that window for the ending. There's also a Pali noun and verb short form. I think I've got the wrong font installed here because it's coming up with some special characters. I very much tend to use my own short forms, but that can be useful for some people. And there's also Alan McClure's Guide to Pali Compounds, which is worth a read if you haven't read it already. And finally, down at the bottom here is the help page. That is the page that you get if you're on the navigation pane and you click the little question mark here. It gives you an explanation of how to use the Digital Pali Reader. So that about wraps it up for the Digital Pali Reader. There are other videos about it on my YouTube channel, and you can also find more information on my website. Thank you very much.